Hey guys, welcome. We're here at the conference room of AM 860, The Answer. This is the station that we broadcast out of in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, a lot of people ask me if I'm on in Portland. Yeah, we're on 860 AM at 9 p.m. So for those of you that don't know, we've moved and we've been here for about a year. It's been over a year now we've been here. And of course, Talkcast PDX, we were there too. And we'd like to thank them for the transition. A lot of people made us who we are after the breakup, and we're very grateful to them. We got aftermath.media, aftermath.fm, all the guys that are behind us there, talkstreamlive.com, the paranormal app. And even in the transition, we did really well. We had great numbers. Number one on the paranormal app, number one on the paranormal 13. We get to see at the end of January how we did being on the internet, how big we've gotten
Overall, yeah.
overall. We're hoping that we're number 3. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Maybe we're higher than that. We don't know. But it's thanks to you. And I want to make sure you realize just how happy and grateful we are this holiday for all of you and for what you've done and how you've kept us going by subscribing to aftermath.media. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. And the reason why is because, first of all, it keeps us going. And, it's the idea that, you set aside money for entertainment and what you love and what the things you love, you spend money on. You know why? Because it keeps them alive. That's the whole point about money, and that's the whole point about value, is that if you value something, you want to keep it around for a while. And you basically set aside money or time or whatever you can to help it. And, taking the time, setting aside a little bit of money so that you can listen to the shows. We've lowered the price so that you can get in and subscribe. So we really need you to subscribe. Give the gift of Ground Zero. People always say, well, I wish somebody would get me a subscription. Well, if you know somebody that loves the show and they're not on board, you can get them a subscription, a gift subscription. That'd be great. Or there's always the friends and family that we have where you and 3 other people can actually go in on a year subscription, and you guys can use the library, you can use all the study groups, everything we have in there, a lot of stuff, this social media and all the things we have at aftermath.media, and I'd love for you to sign up. Also, we have merchandise available. I don't know how soon it'll get to you by Christmas, but it's certainly nice to see under the tree a Ground Zero hoodie, t-shirt, or bumper sticker, or whatever we have available at groundzeromerch.com. That's groundzeromerch.com. And one other thing, there was a alert that went out here in the Pacific Northwest about the winter, saying that in the next few days we may be hit by a major snowstorm. If that's the case, we may not be here the Monday after Christmas, but we're going to see what happens with that weather, if it's going to be bad or whatever, because here in Oregon, just snow puts everything into standstill. But they were saying, and of course, something that's really interesting is Dark Horse Comics is putting out 3 comic books about how to be prepared for the future. And
Without Warning series.
It's called the Without Warning series. That's right. And even here in Oregon, they were saying, in fact, they said on the radio, they said, with the advent of what the weather's going to be like, with the threat of other things like disruptions in power and maybe even problems concerning war or scarcity, that it's time to get prepared. And I couldn't believe I was hearing this. It was a news item coming down from the Emergency Management and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So they're now urging people to be prepared, just like they urged Russia and China to be prepared, to be on a footing of preparedness. So it would be important and advantageous that you get on board now before we have a panic buy, and go to preparewithgroundzero.com and get a 2 weeks supply or a month's supply of food. We try to keep the prices low. With the way the situation is, things are going to fluctuate a little more. This is the way they have inflation in South America. I was reading an article the other day. So if you want to know what it's like to live where inflation goes up and goes down, talk to somebody from Argentina, because they lived through that during the dirty war in the times of the 1980s from 1984 to about 1998. They were living that way. You didn't trust the banks. You didn't trust anybody. You had kept your money in a mattress, and you'd have to wait for exchange rates to see how the money would fare. And right now the dollar's not buying much, and it's kind of odd that it's happening now after this new presidency. And it just, everything seems to be coming together with, it's not going to look good. 2022 is going to be probably the year that we see COVID. I don't know if it'll die, but it'll certainly not be as lethal. And this is where you're going to see a struggle for power. We're already seeing the struggle for power now is we're having extensions on emergencies, even though that, Omicron is not a threat. It's not that big of a deal, but they're still extending emergency powers. They're locking down and they're treating everybody like slaves. Guys, this is something that if you wise up and learn, you're going to realize that this is just too much fear and overreach by our governments. And somebody needs to, speak up and not be afraid to speak up about this, because that's the reality of what's going on here. Tonight on the show, we're going to have Jason Quitt on. We're talking about, it's called It's a Wonderful Simulated Life. A number of movies that are out right now: Spider-Man, No Way Home, The Matrix, Resurrections, It's a Wonderful Life, Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, all deal with multiverse situations. So we're talking about the multiverse. We're talking about how all of these stories